welcome everyone in the Live Your Best Life Now group. We hope that some of you can join us live. If you missed the first day, that's okay. You can also join in today. As every day, there's something exciting and new that we will be sharing. Hi, Dr. Lan, how are you?
Good morning. How are you? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to wherever you go. Actually, today is day 2. Happy Tuesday. And thank you, Mai. You really my saver because without you, I wouldn't be able to go live. I got some technical issue that I cannot go live myself. So thank you. Thank you so much for being with us and make this conversation much more lively.
Thank you for having me here. And it's also, now that I'm here with you, it's kind of like I have to practice the 5-day challenge. I'm just joking. I plan to practice it as well too. But so before we discuss about day 2, perhaps we can do a quick check-in on how it's been for everyone in day 1.
Yes. So yesterday we discussed the first value of grace, which is gratitude. And we explained a very simple and yet very powerful activity, which is called grace breathing. And based on the feedback so far, everyone who practiced in it found that it's very simple to do, but it's profoundly helpful in terms of releasing your stress. Truly help you to sleep well if you do it before you go to sleep, or getting to start the day with lots of energy. And I have no doubt because the energy is coming from your heart. And believe it or not, your heart has a tremendous source of energy that if you know how to unlock it, you will be full of energy throughout the day.
Yes, I do feel very relaxed after I do the grace breathing. So I hope everyone was able to practice that. I do see that a few people have shared in the comments as well for the day 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so now we continue on. So Dr. Lan, please share the next practice that we will be discussing today.
Okay, so the second word in grace is R, which stands for respect. And as you can see, the respect is actually when you practice gratitude, it leads to the practice of respect. And respect is the foundation of any relationships. So one of the very well-established research center, the Pew Research Center, when they actually conducted a survey on about 4,300 people, they found that, and the question that they did in the survey is that what does it look like to have a good life? What a good life consists of? And from these thousands of these people across America, the result come back saying that 4 biggest components to make up a good life is health. Of course, you need health, right? Health would be physical health, emotional health, and spiritual health. And then second would be your career, financial, or whatever that have a stable life. And the third component is relationships. And relationships here is about your families, your loved ones, the important people in your life, your community. And lastly is friendship. You see, so out of those 4, 2 of them already relate to relationships. And that shows how important it is. Relationship means to your life. And practicing respect will be the foundation for you to establish excellent relationships. But the most important relationship that I think to the people would be relationship with yourself, right? Don't you think?
Yes, I agree. I think sometimes we overlook that relationship when we live a very busy lives managing other relationships with our family, our friends at work. So, that's something that we don't talk about enough.
Yes. So in today's section, we will practice something that relate to self-respect, because with self-respect, which is the helping us to establish the relationship with ourselves, and self-respect is the ability to really believe in yourself, like know yourself, and actually love yourself and take good care of yourself. And when you really take good care of yourself, believe in yourself and love yourself, that is when you can be resourceful, you can become loving. Because just imagine, if you start with your cup is empty, how can you flow the love to others, right? You have to fill your cup first. You have to really feel capable. You will feel resourceful. You feel calm. Then you will be able to bring that loving energy to others. So taking good care of yourself is one of the utmost important before you can do other things for other people. So in this today, when you talk about self-respect, I would want to ask you, have you ever thought about all the past experience that brought you to where you are today? Have you ever thought about something that you overcame and thank yourself for that?
Mm. Oh, actually, before I answer that questions, I was able to see some of the individuals that were able to join us live. So I just want to say hi. I believe there's Suki, Wendy, Kaki, and maybe a few more. Hope you're all doing well, and thank you for joining us live. And to answer your questions, when fortunately, I feel I have, especially in the past 2 years, dedicated a lot of time for personal reflection. And when I do that, I was able to look in the past. I feel I still, though, have not done enough, because every time I do look, certain things come up, and some of them can be a little emotional, especially the main challenges or certain traumas that happen. And you mentioned about thanking yourself. Sometimes I look back just to see, just to understand. I don't know if I always thank for what happened to myself or my reaction. So that's something, that's something that's very interesting.
And that is the key. When you say that you thank the past really severe or bad experience that happened to you, that is not normal, right? Normally, you only feel thankful for the good things happen in your life. Have you ever feel thankful for the bad things happen in your life, right? And say, why should I be thankful for the bad things happen in my life? But actually, if you review your life, and when you went through some period that really tough, really challenging, and really push you to the worst situation, and normally, more often than not, those are the situation that really push you to push your limit, and you grow from it. And when you come out of it, you become much stronger, much more resilient. And you couldn't believe that you went through all of that and you still survived, right? So that kind of achievement is just awesome. And without the bad things that happened to you, you would not have that kind of experience. So instead of being, when you remember all of that past experience that brought you pain, instead of feeling sad or feeling, why not celebrate you? Celebrate the myself who went through those hardships, who went through all of those trauma, and I went through it and I overcame it, and I became a much better version of myself nowadays. So that is something that is not a regular way when we look in the past, but I would like to ask my participants, like in this challenge, looking back into your life, I'm sure you can find some experience or some incident or even something that happened without totally caught you off guard, right? It really caught you off guard, but because of all the pain, the sorrow, the negative energy that it brought you, it really make you become stronger. And because of your own ability and your determination, you went through that. You actually went through the hardship and overcame it and become the person of who you are today. So I would like to ask you this, looking back into your life, figure out a situation or a person or an incident that really caused you pain, okay? But you went through it and you overcame it. And why not writing a letter to your younger self and thanking yourself? Thanking, and you say, thank you. Thank you for helping me to go through that hardship, to go through that terrible situation, and I overcame it. It could be a situation when you cope with unemployment or having the first child. That having a child is a wonderful thing, but it comes with lots of responsibility and lots of stress, right? So having a child, it can be an incident that really put you to the fullest, especially if you are a working mom or you are a working dad and you have to take care of so many things, but you went through it. You went through it and you overcame it. But have you ever celebrated? So now today is the chance for you to celebrate yourself for overcoming whatever obstacle that you overcame in the past. So that's the first action that I would like to ask you. Like today, there will be 2 actions. Does that sound something that is doable, Mike?
Yes, yes. Oh, I'm gonna put my camera back on as viewers. Yes, yes, definitely something very doable.
Right, because like
How many minutes do you feel that we could I guess allocate to this exercise? Because I know everyone said
it can be only 5 minutes. Like how long does it take you to remember? For me, if you ask me the question, I would say right away, oh, it was the night that I escaped. I escaped with a boat like full of people, and half of the people died on that night. It was horrible. It brought a lot of sadness in me when I remember, but I overcame it. I escaped out of it. I came back, and I learned so much from that incident. But normally I don't want to remember, right? Because it brought back so much sadness, so much pain. I just don't want to remember because it caused me uncomfortable feelings. But if you intentionally said that, okay, let me truly acknowledge myself because I went through that and I overcame the obstacle. I become who I am today because back then, on that day, on that night, I made the right decision and I stick to it. So you deserve to be celebrated, right? So it just takes like 5 minutes to remember. And instead of remember the pain feeling, you just set your intention to find the gift in that painful situation. What is the gift? And I'm sure you can find it. For the gift that you're so much thankful for yourself because you make that decision to go through it. And just write a letter. It can be writing on the email to yourself or writing, because the act of writing is also good. And that would take another like 5 minutes or 10 minutes at max. And that will, if you write it, you have a piece of paper that you can share. Like if you have children, you can share and it become a wonderful lesson for your kid. Like, look, mommy or daddy, in the past went through this, but I overcame because I never give up. Or whatever that quality that helped me to overcome, and that become a life lesson for your children. How does that sound? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Now I'm gonna be I guess like I'm gonna ask you another questions. I guess playing the devil advocates for people who might still find themselves stuck.
Right.
Is what if one of your most painful situation is something you felt that you let's say you're still working on, and you haven't, it's something you felt you're at fault and you never were able to forgive yourself.
Okay.
And
Yes.
and
So that's a very good question. So this might take you a little bit longer if that's the case, right? Because if you still feel that you are at fault, you were a failure back then, it was not a very good situation, then you need to dig deeper. You need to ask the question, okay, what is the gift from this? What is good about this? Like, you have to ask yourself to dig deeper instead of looking in the first surface, like I look like I'm a loser, I look like I lost everything, or I went through that bankruptcy because I didn't take good care of my business, so on and so forth. But whatever the trauma that you had, if you had not really healed, it means that you still have something that you blame yourself, right? Then you have not found the lesson yet. Every relationship has a purpose, and this is the relationship with yourself. And when you feel shame for yourself because of that incident, it means that it has not been closed. It still needs to be processed. So you might want to invest because it bothers you, it still bothers you. That is significant, right? So then you might want to spend some time and ask yourself, okay, I know that, I acknowledge that it was a failure and everything, but what is the lesson that I can get from this? And I'm sure when you ask the question, your heart will give you the answer. Again, you connect to the heart, even use grace breathing, connect like physically with your heart. Take a couple of deep breaths, thinking about how wonderful you are, and then just try to find the answer. It will show up. When you keep asking, it will show up. And when it show up, okay, oh, that incident, okay, it is a lesson for me. It taught me, in life, I need to such and such and such, like whatever lesson that it come up. And only when you are able to find the lesson that truly explain the purpose of that relationship or that incident, then you will be at peace with yourself, right? You will find that eternal peace that now looking back, you no longer blame yourself. You know that at that moment, at that time, given that pressure and everything, that was the thing that I did to teach me a lesson for my future self. And because of those lessons, that's why I become the person who I am today. And I think that is very important. If you have not found the peace with your past mistake, then this is a great chance to really looking back and ask yourself deeper questions. But that would take more than 5 minutes. That would take like 10 or 15 minutes, like some deep thinking, right? And trying to find, but our brain is awesome. When you ask the question, you will find the answer, and the answer will sometimes surprise you. And then you write it down, and that would be the best thing you do for yourself. Because guess what? If you continue to have that trauma, you continue to have that uneasy feeling about the things in the past, you will carry it, to the next thing happen to you, especially in relationship, right? If you have some past bad things or past experience, and you keep it in your heart, you have not released it. Writing this letter to thank you for that event, it will release that burden, release that energy that really, stuck in your heart. And that is when your heart is become free. And when it becomes free, oh boy, you will be the best, the best friend, the best mother, the best father, the best colleague, the best, the best husband or wife to other, because your heart is full and you are healed from the previous trauma. But I'm not asking for the trauma. It can be, trauma is a little bit hard. So you can think about something that's very challenging, but you overcame it. But even with trauma, it would take some more time. But again, acknowledge yourself. Like, don't blaming yourself is the worst thing you would do to you, and it would harm you tremendously. It would harm your self-respect. And in order for you to practice self-respect, you really have to celebrate yourself. And that is the key. Does that make sense? So that is one.
Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah, so that is one action. Another action is just for fun, but I think it's very easy to do. but it adds tremendous energy to you for your daily life. So I would like to ask you to do, for those of you who do both, you got some bonus point, okay? So the second action would be, we call affirmation, the power of words. Now, yesterday we talked about the power of breathing, right? The connection between breathing and connect to your heart, so that you can, and gratitude, so that you can have peace. Today, I want to have an action that connect your words. You know, words are very important. The words that we say, the words that we say to ourselves or to say to others are so important. And in the past, I don't know whether you are aware, but there is an experiment of a Japanese scientist that he said the water itself, when they receive positive energy, positive words, they become the crystal very well. Like the formation of the water, when they look into the into the really, really microscopic, they see the structure of the water is beautiful, is harmony, is wonderful. But when they did have the water in a bad environment, when people fought with each other, they use bad words and everything, then the water is just like disarray. They did not organize. So actually, water is impacted by the energy of the people, or the thinking, the thoughts, and the words. The words are so important. And just imagine our body, 70% of our body is water. Okay, so what you say and what you think actually affect the body, your body, a lot. And recently, there's a book that I just read this morning. I just go and Google. It's called Words Have Energy. It's called Words Has Energy and Power. It's a book by a neuroscientist, Dr. Andrew Newberg, and a communication specialist, Mark Robert Watman. And they mentioned about the power of using the words. So affirmation would be the way that you use word to affirm about yourself. So this is what actually I'm doing every morning. Okay, so I just share with you and give it a try. It doesn't hurt. So every morning you go to the restroom, right? In the morning, the first thing, you look into the mirror before you finish all the routine and everything. Before you leave the restroom, you look at yourself in the mirror. At first, you smile at yourself. Okay, smiling, it adds a lot of positive vibe to our own body. So you smile, and sometimes I laugh. I laugh for about 30 seconds. I find something fun so I can laugh. And then I look into the mirror and say, Anlan, I love you. I celebrate you. You are awesome. You are wonderful. And I thank you for being with me all of these years. I am committed to become the better version of yourself every single day. And with that, I give a high five into the mirror, and off I go for the day. So how does that sound? It's very simple. It's a conversation between you and yourself.
Yes, that sounds wonderful.
Yeah, so you just look, but before
That's
you
right.
do anything, you smile. Because when you smile or you laugh, it would take like a few seconds, but you laugh, you look into yourself and say, Anlan, and you can put it in your heart. So it also have the power of touching. Like, Anlan, I love you. I care about you. I want to celebrate you. Thank you so much for being with me all of these years. I really appreciate you. And I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, that kind of wording. And then you say, and I am committed, right? You set your intention for the day. I am committed to become the best version of yourself today and tomorrow and forever, and then give a high five. Okay. You just give a high five to yourself in the mirror before you start the day. So that's something you can do for day 2.
Yes, yes, for
Okay.
sure. And I actually have been doing that as well too. Not as consistently as I like to, but besides yourself, and there are many top successful coaches out there that actually acknowledge how key this is in their own journey of self-care as well too. And the first time I heard that, I was so surprised that how come we don't tell our children this? Our children should be
Exactly.
high-fiving the mom every
Yeah.
day and listen to her and say, I love you.
Yeah, I love you, and I give a high five to yourself, So it's just very simple. But again, the more you do, initially when you do, you feel a little bit awkward, right? So when I do it, I have to close the door because my husband might look at me like, are you crazy or what? But after I do it for a few days, it becomes normal. And it adds so much energy to me.
Yes,
Tell me to start that I feel good. I feel that I
that's
love
right.
myself, and it's the practice, the basic practice of self-love, right? So why not practice
Yes,
it? So my challenge to all of you today would be starting the day thinking about, okay, so there are two actions, right? One action would be in the past. In the past, if there's something that you want to celebrate, you want to thank yourself, then write a letter to thank yourself. Now, for those of you who still have something that not really, you overcome yet, then it requires some deep thinking. So it's up to you whether you want to do it or not. But the second action is very simple. You just like starting the day, look into the mirror and say hi, and then you smile, and then you say you are beautiful, you are strong, you are. So those are words of affirmation, and then you just say, I want to thank you for being with me all of these years. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And then I'm committed to become the best version of yourself in the coming day. And here you go, high five, and go for the day. All right. So that would be
awesome,
yeah,
awesome.
that would be the second action of the day. And if you continue to do the grace breathing, then you have two things: grace breathing and then this affirmation. Let's see how far we can go until the end of 5 days.
Yes. And oh, I see a comment online there. Kaki says, let's start a high five club. Yes.
There you go.
And
Let's do a
Lucy
high
said,
five, right? High five
yes.
to
And Lucy
yourself,
said
right?
her son,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
yes. And Lucy said her son practiced this every day since he was one. Maybe that's why he's so happy all the time. That's
Awesome.
awesome.
Awesome. So he already mastered it, right? At a very young age. Imagine how powerful he can become when he grow up. So congratulations, Lucy. All right. Okay, so I
Yes.
think our
He's
time is
great
up.
empowerment children.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. It's very powerful, and heavy, and you can do it with your children if you have children in the house. Like, talk to them. Now, for those of you who are dealing with trauma, you can share, and I can help you to give some, because I actually help some of my clients to go through very tough past, and because of this appreciation with this grateful heart, they are able to overcome and find out the meaning. Only when you find out the meaning, the purpose of that incident happened to you, then that is when you can reconcile with yourself and truly find the peace and the self-love that you need. You really need to love yourself. Like, how can you love others if you don't love yourself, right? And sometimes we are the most, I think, the most critical critic of ourselves, right? So sometimes this affirmation really help you to just release that energy, release the energy of loving, and become loving to others. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, thank you, Dr.
mhm.
Lan, for sharing that. And before we wrap up and say bye to everyone, I just want to encourage you to go ahead to do the practice. Share your reflection as a post or in the comment if possible. And another thing we ask of you is that if you have anyone else, any other friends or family that you feel could benefit from the free 5-day grace challenge, it doesn't matter when they join, there's still 3 more days. Feel free to invite them to this group, or feel free to share. Actually, you can share when we go live. You can share or start a watch party on your own Facebook page or any other group if you feel the message that we are sharing will benefit many others as well too. So once again, thank you so much for being here with us. And I myself look forward to always learning from you, Dr. Anlan, and looking forward to writing that letter and the daily affirmation of self-love.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mai. And thank you everyone who tune in. And I really hope that you will practice 1 day of self-love, of self-respect and self-celebration, because you are a miracle. You deserve all the celebration that you have. So please help us to celebrate yourself throughout this day. Thank you.